TTJ Tech.
It's Wednesday, my friends. So glad you're here with us on this awesome Wednesday. iPad for All Computing. Coming to you from
TTJ Tech.
All right. Oh, I do want to thank you. Thank you for joining us today, my friends, because we are so happy to have you here on this beautiful day. Hope you're having a great day. I know we are, praise God. And I want to remind you that if, in fact, you are tuning in from YouTube, we need you to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. What that means is leave a like on this video, subscribe to our channel if you've not already had a chance to do so, and then don't forget to come back and smash that notification bell. Bam! I don't know if I can say bam. Lagasse might have copyrighted that, trademarked that. It was Emerald, wasn't it? Emerald Lagasse. Sorry there. Boom. I don't know. Smash. Anyway, ring the bell. Ring the bell. There you go. Because we definitely don't want you to miss any videos that we upload. That's how you will be able to stay in the loop. Everything coming to you from
TTJ Tech.
All right. Good enough. You know what today is, my friends? Being a Wednesday, it's time for TTJ Extras. When you hear that sound, that's what it's all about. So we are going to get started today, but we're going to actually be continuing, and we've got a few extras back to back. I want to show you a quick extra here, because we often talk about share sheets, and we've talked about share sheets with Safari, with photos, and I believe even with voice memos, right? Among other things. Many apps have share sheets, and you can airdrop, you can send by messages and mail, and, open it up in other apps and a lot of other things, And one of the options that I said you would frequently see is save to files. Well, that can even be done in Notes. But I want to show you a couple of really interesting things. So, first off, of course, as you might believe, maybe you don't believe it, I actually have an iPad right here. Just got to get the volume raised up a little. I got to use my fingerprint. Then once I do get the volume raised up. Okay.
3,
There's the volume. That's good. Fingerprint time.
13. Try again.
Oh, boy. There we go. Okay.
News, widget, stack,
I don't know why that happened. It just I didn't have it at the right angle.
surface.
That's normally not an issue. Look how quick it normally is. Ready?
3:13 a.m.
Yeah, see?
Matt's AirPods.
There we go. Okay. All right, guys. Going on into Notes here.
Doc, photo, notes. Note, text field, is editing, test for iPad.
And this is a fine note for us to share, the one we were working in the iPad class. Now, if I actually say share, it's going to make it collaborative. And that's typically what we want. But sometimes I just want to send a copy, which is how I'll get the traditional share sheet. So we are going to go to Note Actions.
New note actions, test for iPad class.
And we're actually going to choose
Cap T. Tango.
Send a copy.
Delete, send a copy, button, test for iPad class, heading.
Now you have your traditional share sheet.
Cap.
And it has things like
Matthew's iPad 4, airdrop, button, Suzanne Milk, Jessica, Maintenance, Rick Hall, Fred Buck, Catherine, Jeffrey Cap, Diane Hall, Family, Cliff, Carson, Rick, airdrop, button, messages, mail, Zoom, reminders, Facebook, more, copy, markup, print, button.
All right, but look at this.
Any list recipe, save to files, button.
We're going to try to save it to files, only we're not actually going to, we are going to do it.
Save to file, cancel, button.
All right, this is the interface you get when you save it to files. Swipe to the right.
New folder, button.
Wherever you are right now, you can make a new folder if you want to do that. So you don't have to do it ahead of time. You can do it as you're creating, as you're saving. Let's go to the right.
Save button.
There's a save button.
Item will be saved to audio files on iCloud Drive.
All right, that's definitely not where I want it. It might say choose a new location if it doesn't think it knows, but it thinks it knows here. It just happens to be wrong. So I'm going to swipe to the right.
Text button. iCloud Drive. Art Studio Pro.
iCloud Drive is already expanded.
iCloud Drive.
It's not telling us that, but if you went right from iCloud Drive to on my iPad, you would know that it's collapsed. In my case, it's expanded. I just need to pick one of these folders, or I can make a new folder, but I'm right now not in the place I'd want to make a new folder. I'm inside of audio files, so I would have to go
Text button. iCloud.
iCloud Drive. But here's the thing. I have folders that I can use already. So we're going to use a folder called Attachments and Photos.
Art 80 attachments and photos.
And I will double tap that.
Selected attachments and photos.
And now you're hearing that.
Selected attachments and photos.
Now if we go back up to the top.
Dismissed item will be saved to attachments and photos on iCloud Drive.
Good enough, right? Almost, but not quite. Because if I swipe to the right.
Text button.
I hear the word text. It's going to name this file text. And I definitely don't want to call it text. So I want to double tap on it to rename it.
Folder name, text field, is editing, text, character mode, insertion point at end.
I know it says folder.
Use the rotor to access misspelled words.
I know it says folder name. It's not a folder, it's a file. Don't worry about that. Just delete what's here.
Delete T-X-E-T.
And we're going to call it test note. So I'm going to type that very correctly.
E-S-T.
I'll put a hyphen.
Hyphen, test,
Capital.
cap N. Cap O-T-E.
And what I can now do is,
Done.
to the right of the L, there we go.
Cancel button.
Now you'll see.
New folder. Save. But item will be saved to attachments and photos on iCloud Drive. Test note button.
You see, we've updated the name of it. So let's swipe to the left and hit save.
Item will be save button.
Okay.
Folders back button.
Now I'd like to point out to you that of course you can rename it in the Files app afterwards, but you know, this is a lot easier to do in the process, I think, to just get it done so you have the correct name right away. Let's go to the Files app and see if I can find that.
New find my home FaceTime files.
Okay. Now
Files show sidebar button.
I can go into recents, but I know where it is. So
Audio files BFF audio exchange attachments and photos
Excuse me,
folder.
here, let's go into this.
2022
all right, and let's scroll down some.
page 3 of 3 TV app overview page 2 of 3 Cliff and Matt Kale keep iTunes iPad models iPad cellular.
Oh, we called it iPad test, right?
iTunes iPad model drag item.
Okay.
Delete iPad cellular interview instructions for
Thought I called it iPad test, didn't I? Didn't I call it iPad test?
iPad model iTunes UI keyboard iPad.
I wonder if it
scan
actually-
scan
check something.
The test node.
That's right. We called it test note. We didn't call it iPad test. We called it test note. That's right. It was called iPad something test for iPad class in the actual title of the note, but the file isn't. The file is test note.
Test node text file today 3:14 a.m. 142 bytes.
And there it is. Very, very small file. It's a TXT. And so that's how you can save your notes to the Files app. Now, ordinarily, you don't need to do this. There's no real benefit to doing that because everything you ever want to do, you can do from within the Notes app, and you can work with the notes there. But if you need to convert it to something else for some odd reason or something along those lines, you certainly can save it this way. Now, what if I have a TXT file like this and I want to be able to edit it? Because if you look at this, when I open it,
Test node text file to done button.
I got a done button. This is a quick look.
List button. Test node 46 of 58. Share button. Test for iPad class. This is a test for the iPad class. How are you? Groceries. White bullet bread. White bullet chicken.
Remember this? But what I don't have here is a way to edit this. So how can I edit this? And the answer to that question is simply to go to the share sheet.
Grocery. This is a test for share button. Test node.
You're going to choose copy.
Capped. Matthew. Diane. Carson. Message. Vermont. N. Books. Facebook, numbers, pages, more, but copy,
Well, you could also see that you could bring it into Pages.
pages, button.
You could bring it into Notes, probably.
Facebook, numbers, books, NYT, remind, Zoom, notes, button.
But I don't know if it would be brought into Notes as text or as an attachment. But if I choose Copy,
Books, Facebook, number, pages, more, copy, button.
then it will definitely bring it in as text. All I've got to do is create a new note and paste it.
Test note.
And it is as
test
simple
note.
as that. So that is
Done.
going to do it
Button.
for us. We'll hit done. I'm not actually
Test
going to do
note.
it, but that is how I wanted to show you how easy that is. So that completes our first extra. Let's go on to another one. Okay. Our next TTJ extra is still coming to you from Notes. And I would like to demonstrate for you how to create a quick note. Now, if I don't have VoiceOver on, I can do that swipe from the bottom right corner of the screen and swipe up to the left diagonally as we talked about. Since I do have VoiceOver on, what I've got
Weather.
are a couple of possible choices. I can either create a custom gesture for VoiceOver to do a quick note, or I can add it to the control center. I seem to remember adding it to the control center already.
Control
take a look.
center. Airplane mode. Quick note button.
Yeah, there it is. Double tap on quick note right now.
Quick tool tap weather. Widget. Stack. Everett.
You notice I'm on my home screen, but if I look on the screen, and I didn't hear where it said the tool palette was, but I'll figure it out.
TV.
It's probably,
Maps.
it's on the right or the left,
Double
I'm
tap to
assuming.
open. Create new notes anytime by swiping from the bottom right corner.
There it is, okay.
Get started. But get started.
Get started.
start. Note. Text field is editing. Zoom info for main.
And
Hashtag.
there is a quick note that I already created, and it is letting me continue to edit that note because my settings are such right now that it'll continue in the same quick note. If I don't want it to, I can go into settings and notes and change that.
Return.
But
Words.
this is already in
Natural
here,
list,
so we're
list
just
slash
gonna
86. Add link. Note. Text
gonna
field
go to the
is
top of the note.
completed. HTTP
Oops.
add link. Note. Text field is editing incomplete.
Okay, I see what I did. I know what I did there.
Zero to
I
add
got
link.
some,
Note. Text field is editing. Zoom info list item check.
I gotta get off of the list. I had a checklist there. Okay, so here we are. Zoom info, it says. I'm gonna say Zoom
India.
awesome info, so we have an extra word.
Set E.
Okay.
SOME space.
Now, I misspelled it. I'll fix that quickly.
W.
My W didn't take. Okay, now it did.
W. We're awesome.
All right, so I have an edit field where I can type. You also notice to the left of the edit field,
Note. Add link. Button.
there's a button to add a web link.
April 13th. New note. Button.
There's a button to create a regular new note.
Add link. Button.
To the right,
Note. Incomplete. Hashtag TT.
that's my checklist stuff.
Edit. Button.
There's an edit button, so I can edit this.
Add table. Button.
Add a table.
Format. Button.
A lot of
Awesome.
the same stuff we normally do.
Note. Add April. New. More action. Back to notes. Button.
And if I want to, when I'm done, there's
More actions. Button.
more actions. Let's see what that is.
Share. Button. Delete. Dismiss context menu.
All right, finally,
Note. Add 8 new. More. Back. Done. Button.
there's done.
Done. Back to notes.
Back to
Button.
notes. If I hit done, I'm just going to be
Done. Button. Done. Folders. Back button.
I'm still back to notes.
Folders.
But you
back
notice
button. FaceTime.
I'm not
2 minutes.
really.
FaceTime. Maps.
See, I'm actually on my home screen.
Books.
And you know,
Double tap app T book new set page doc.
it's gone. So
Photos.
if I want to open it,
Calendar. Mail. Doc. Settings.
okay,
Doc. Photo. Notes.
there we go. What I have now,
Notes. Folders. Back button. TTJ. Heading. Folders. TTJ. Family notes. Bet to note. All iCloud. Quick notes. Smart folder. Two notes.
there it is. And if I open that,
Selected. Quick notes. Smart folder. iCloud. Button. Heading. Zoom awesome info for main. Modified. 322.
and there's my quick note Zoom info, and you saw that I added the word awesome, and so it really worked. So that's how easy it is to create a quick note or to append to an existing one. Again, if you don't want it to continue adding to the same note, you better go into settings and notes and change that. All right, that's it for quick
Folders.
notes.
Heading. Folders. Heading.
Another thing I want to show you is that if you are in,
Weather.
let's say you have a web link and you're in Safari, you can quickly share that website to notes. You know, if I go in
Doc. Music. Safari.
Safari.
Safari. Show sidebar. How to watch 2000.
One of the options I have
Select new share.
is notes.
Alt dismiss. Edit action. Add to find. Add book. Add copy. Food. NY book. Remind. Zoom. Notes. Button.
And what you'll
Cancel
see, you'll
button.
see I have some options here.
Notes. Heading. Save. Button. Save to. Heading. New note. Button. This attachment will be saved in a new note. Add text to your note. Text field. Website attachment. Home. Text field.
Okay.
Text field.
So you can add text to the note. You can choose whether it's going to be creating a new note automatically or whether it's going to add to an existing note if I double tap that button. And then, of course, we can save it. But since I don't really want to do it, I'll cancel.
Save to. Save. Notes. Cancel. Button. Notes. Button.
We'll get out of the share sheet.
Show sidebar. Button.
And, I can even do that with audio. I can do it with video. So I can do it, with photos. Of course, the Notes app has the option to add photos. But certainly if I wanted to do it with the, the other way around by sharing a photo to Notes, I certainly could. And I can do it with voice memos, with, video. And what will happen is that will become an attachment within the Notes app, okay? So that I can easily and quickly find it later by just double tapping it when I'm inside my note. All right, so there you go. Another thing we should show you is live text, and I'm going to show it to you from the Notes app for now, then we'll do camera another time. But I want to point out that we saw it in the various Notes options in the toolbar that we could insert it. You can also do it by long pressing. That is a tap and hold, or a double tap and hold for voiceover users, or even a triple tap will work with no hold. And you do this on any edit field. All right, so if I go into my note again,
Many of the streaming service
let's go back here with a 4-finger swipe to the right. Quickly gets me back to Notes.
Notes.
And
Hide
I'm
sidebar.
going to
Two
need
notes.
to pick a note, though.
Hide sidebar. Hide edit. Folder. Selected. Quick notes. iCloud. All iCloud. Notes. Family. Blot. Tech 300. TTJ.
What's this?
Cyan.
Okay.
TTJ. Selected folders. Back button.
All right.
Folder. TTJ. Search. Dictate. Pinned. Button. Heading. Collapsed. Notes. Test for iPad class. Selected.
All
Test. 8. Note. Test for iPad class. This is a test for the iPad note. Text field is editing. Test insertion point at start. Check in incomplete.
Oops.
Return lines. Text long word tab for iPad class. The iCloud are you question mark. New line.
All right. If I double tap if I long press rather,
List item check 8 new note. Note actions. 8 incomplete note. Text field.
and I long press this,
Indentation. Menu item.
we get a menu. Let's swipe left and right to go through it.
Style options. Menu. Undo. Button. Indentation. Style options. Text from camera. Menu item. Insert drawing. Menu item. Paste. Menu item. Select all. Menu item.
See, you can paste that way. That's how you paste text that you've copied. Remember, I showed you how to copy that entire text document a few minutes ago? Well, that's one way that you could paste it there. What I want...
Select. Menu item. Completed. Check. Redo. Pay. Cap. High.
What I want is...
List April 3rd. Incomplete. Note.
I have to do it again now, but what I want is select...
Empty line.
Text from camera. And when I get that...
Indentation. It's the text from camera. Menu item.
I'll double tap, and I'm going to have to move my iPad to a different position here.
Text from camera. Slow down. Close. Button. Portrait.
I'm going to try
Holiday.
to take
Outdoor.
the text that's on my iPad screen of my other iPad here.
Insert. Button. Slow down.
Okay, I'm slow.
Detect text. Button. Insert. Button.
What does detect text do?
Detect text. But swipe or tap text to select. Selected. Detect text. Select. Insert. Button. Close. Button. Close. Insert. Button. Insert. Note. Text field
Let's see.
is editing. Test for iPad class. 1910 recording. This is a test for the iPad class. How are you? Groceries. Checklist button.
You know, it did add it. It said 1910 recording, and where it got that from was my timeline in this app that I'm using to record. It showed that we've
Let-
been recording for 19 minutes and 10 seconds, and it shows that it is recording. So it worked. It worked perfectly. It got the text of the iPad screen. Now, it did not get the whole iPad screen, obviously. You would have to move it around. If you were trying to read a menu, a sign, some other text on a piece of paper, you might have to do some detective work if you don't have any sighted assistance, because there are anomalies, there are imperfections, and there are quirks, right? Depending on how well the text appears even to the human eye, how well it's written, how legible it is, the lighting of the room, all of these factors will definitely make a difference. But you saw that it worked. I mean, it actually really worked just now. You
Sleep
heard for
on.
yourself that it read the 19 minutes and 10 seconds recording, which is what my iPad screen showed in a certain part of it. So that is how easy, my friends, it is to do live text. Moving on from the extras. What we really need to do is we need to show our voiceover users how to edit some text, because it is very important we do a refresher of that. If you are not a voiceover user, please hang in there with me, and I apologize. We do need to cover this for the voiceover users briefly as a general review. If you're not a voiceover user, it's pretty easy to edit text because you can move your finger to wherever you want to position the cursor, and you can tap and hold to get additional options. And it's really, really that simple. But when you're a voiceover user, we have to do some extra things. Now, we can still long press to get those options and actions like paste and select all and things of that nature. You heard that for yourself. But how do we select some text, and how do we, make changes that way? So the answer is with the rotor. And you remember hearing about the rotor, two-finger rotation. Now, the voiceover cursor will move in tandem with the iPad system cursor here when you are in an edit field. And so you can move by characters, by words, or by lines. The voiceover cursor is always going to read whatever the voiceover speech is always going to read whatever the cursor passes over. Let me try to explain that to you. If I have the word test, like I do here in the beginning of this document, my first swipe by character is going to read the letter T because I'm passing over the T. But the cursor is actually now positioned to the right of the letter T, between the T and the E of the word test. If I swipe back up, or in other words, I move to the left, my cursor will now be positioned to the left of the letter T, before the T, so that what I type is going to come in front of it and become the first character of the word. But you notice VoiceOver will still say T, because again, it's passing over it. It's like if I'm walking through my kitchen and I walk to the right of the refrigerator and I say everything I'm passing by, I say fridge, but now the fridge is to the left and I'm between the fridge and the stove. But now if I move to the left of the fridge, I'll say fridge because I saw it again as I passed by it, but now I'm to the left of the fridge. And so you see, let me demonstrate how that's going to sound. We are going to navigate, first of all, remember you can double tap repeatedly to toggle between the beginning and the end of the document or edit field.
8 note text field is edit insertion point at start.
Double tap,
Insertion point at end.
double tap.
Insertion point at start.
All right, I'm going to make sure my rotor is set to characters,
Words, characters,
and I'm going to swipe down.
cap T, E, S, T. Tango,
Where's my cursor? To the right of the T, between the T and the space.
space,
See?
space,
Now, if I move it to the left, it's going to read the T.
T,
But where is my
Tango.
cursor? Where's my cursor? It's actually to the left of the letter T. So if I swipe down again,
T,
it's reading
Tango,
T again because it passed over it, but now it's to the right of the T. So you see if I swipe up,
T,
I'm to the left of it.
Tango,
I'm right between the S and the T. Swipe up again.
S,
There's the S.
Sierra,
Swipe down.
S, Sierra,
I'm now to the right of the S. Okay? Does that help you a little? I hope it does. Now, we can set the rotor to words, and
words, T, 4, iPad 4, test,
we can set the rotor to lines.
lines, test for iPad class,
Okay? Back up.
test for iPad class,
And we're at the beginning. The next thing that's just how you move, right? And reposition your insertion point so that you can type where you want to type. Practice that a little. So let's create a new note.
note actions, but show new note button, Note, text field is editing, line mode, insertion point at start.
You heard I'm in line mode.
Use the rotor to access misspelled words.
I'm going to go to characters.
Word characters.
And we're going to type editing.
Cap D T N G.
And I'm going to put I'm going to put a colon there with I am.
Colon.
Two blank lines.
Return. New line.
And we're going to type a sentence. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Capped H E space A U I C.
All right, anyway. Quick
B
brown.
O N space.
Did I get the
brown.
W? Yes, I did.
F O X
Sometimes I
space
didn't read
U
it.
M P.
Because I'm typing more quickly than
V E space T H E space L A Y space D O G period dot new line.
And remember, if you want to put a period and a space, you can just do two spaces quickly. That's your period shortcut. But I did a period and then two blank lines. Let's read.
Note, text field is editing. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Insertion point at end.
And you know that editing...
Use the rotor to access misspelled words.
Editing was the title of the note. That's why it said that like that. All right. I would like to go ahead and what I'd like to do now is to practice this positioning again. We're going to add a word. It says the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. We're going to add the word very. So we're going to say the very lazy dog. The quick brown fox jumps over the very lazy dog. So what would my best bet be for how to get to the place I need to be? I need to get the insertion point directly to the left of the letter L, between the space and the L. So I'm going to set the rotor to words.
Words.
And then swipe up with one finger to go to the previous words.
Dog lazy.
All right, I'm at the beginning of lazy. I will set my rotor to characters just to be sure.
Characters.
I'll swipe down.
L.
And I'm now after the letter L, so I don't want to do that. I want to swipe back up.
L. Lima.
Now I'm in the right place.
Body. System font regular. 18 point. Light gray. Natural alignment. Indentation level 0. Character mode. Insertion point between space and L at the 46th position.
How did I do that? I did a 3-finger single tap, guys. That reads me all the attributes of the font, and it also told me that the insertion point was between the space and the L. That is another way to verify for sure. And we're going to type the word very in here.
V-E-R-Y.
Space.
Very.
Now let's read.
M8 note, text field, is editing. The quick brown fox jumps over the very lazy dog. Character mode, insertion point between space and L at the 51st position.
And you see it reads
the rotor to
perfectly. Now, how did I get it to read? I just tapped on the edit field, and I actually swiped left and right then to go out of the edit field and back in it just to make sure it would read the whole thing, the entire edit field. You know, there's other ways. You can hide the keyboard and then have a non-editing experience. Down at the bottom right is that hide.
Hide keyboard.
So you can do it that way to not be editing while you're listening, and then you can read by character, word, or line, or you can just do 2-finger swipe down for a continuous read, right? All sorts of things, okay? So that's how easy it is to what am I trying to say? To add some text or to edit. Now, let's say, I don't know, let's do this. Let's select some text to make it interesting somehow here. I don't have as many choices in notes as I would in pages, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the text yet to make it interesting, but let's just let's learn how to select. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my insertion point before the word the at the beginning of the sentence. The quickest way to do that is by line.
Words, lines, the quick brown.
Okay, now I'll make sure by going to word characters.
Word characters, cap T.
Yep, I am.
Tango.
All right, we're going to select the quick brown fox, just those 4 words. And actually, we're not even going to select those 4 words. We're going to select quick and brown, just 2 words, quick brown. All right, so how do you select? The first thing you do is you make sure your insertion point is positioned just before the first thing you want to select, just to the left of it. All right, so we have to swipe down to, I said we're going to use quick and brown. That's what we're going to select. But you know, I could turn the rotor to words, but it's really not going to save me that many swipes when it's only 1 word away. So let's just swipe down by character.
Capped A-E space.
Okay, we're right where we want to be, just to the left of the letter Q. We want to select quick and brown. We're going to turn the rotor to text selection. If you do not find text selection in your rotor, you're going to need to go to Settings, Accessibility, VoiceOver, and Rotor, and make sure you add text selection. Turn it on, double tap it. For folks who can see and do not use VoiceOver, how do you select text? Well, it's easy. You find the text you want to start selecting, and you tap, and then what you're going to do is you're going to expand or shrink the selection by spreading apart and pinching your fingers. And you can actually also tap the selection and then move the little select handles too to increase what is selected. So there's a couple of ways. All right, so I'm going to do this with VoiceOver, of course, and I'm right where I want to start selecting. So I need to turn the rotor to text selection.
Words, lines, text selection. Swipe right to expand selection. Swipe left to shrink selection.
And it already tells me how we're going to do it. We're going to swipe right with one finger to expand selection. In other words, to increase what is selected. And we're going to swipe left to decrease, again, one finger, of course, to decrease what is selected or to shrink the selection. But before we can do that, we have to decide how we want to select. Do we want to select by characters, by words, by lines, or what do we want to do? Well, I'm going to be selecting quick and brown. I think we should select by words. To do that, you swipe down with one finger, okay?
Word selection.
And there's word selection. Here are your choices. I'll swipe back up.
Character selection.
We can go down.
Word selection. Line selection. Page selection. Select all.
You can even select all this way by just double tapping right there. But
Characters, page, line, word selection.
we're going to swipe to the right with one finger now.
Quick, selected. Brown, selected.
And that's what we want to select. You notice if I swipe back to the left with one finger,
Brown, unselected.
it deselects brown. But swipe to the right,
Brown, selected.
and it adds it to the selection.
Bottom right corner,
And
thumbnail width,
that is-
double tap and hold. Then drag up to alter keyboard.
Okay. And that is it. And my focus is not... Yeah, I'm not even going to bother with that right now. All right, so that is selected. Quick brown is selected. Now, what I need to do is to quickly turn the rotor away from text selection because I don't want to change it. If I start swiping left and right now on the screen, guess what? It's going to actually change what's selected. It's going to affect that. So I need to turn the rotor.
Lines.
Now I'm on lines. That's fine. I still want to be careful what I do. I don't want to swipe up and down because if I do, it's going to deselect everything. What I need to do is swipe to the right or try to tap on the right side to get format. You also have your formatting options in the rotor under edit, but I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to go ahead to the format button.
Note and cut button. Copy button.
Notice that because my text is selected, I've got some additional options here to the right of the notes edit field. I've got cut and copy,
Paste button.
paste.
Add table off button. Format button.
That's what I want, format.
Double tapped. Format title button. Heading subheading selected. Body monospaced bold button.
Make it bold,
Selected bold. Italic button. Selected. Italic.
italicize it.
Underline strike bold dash number out indent.
That's it. Let's scrub out of this or tap off of it.
Format button.
Now what we want to do is
Double tap to-
absolutely we want to remember to deselect it. Otherwise we will do other weird things to it without meaning to. So deselect by just one finger swiping up or down.
Cap F.
I got to touch
Foxtrot.
I got to touch the keyboard first.
Return.
Now swipe up or down.
Quick brown. Unselected.
Now, when you touch the keyboard, you want to be very careful. Don't touch a letter that's going to get inserted. How did I do that without inserting it? Direct touch typing mode. I tapped and held for about a second or two on the return key. Remember how we do that. You learned this in our initial typing lesson on the iPad. If you forget, go back and listen again. Quick explanation. Why did I use return? Because if I had touched another letter and held for a second, it would not have inserted it. Remember, when you're in direct touch, a quick tap inserts it. A longer tap and hold doesn't.
S.
I touched the S,
Sierra.
but when I swipe up and down,
Number sign. Activate default.
I'm on actions. All right. I could turn my rotor to characters, but right now I'm on actions to get the alternate character. So I did return because I wouldn't have to worry about it. Hold it for a second so it doesn't replace the selected text with a new blank line.
Return.
And then swipe up or down with one finger because there's no actions.
F.
And it deselected.
Foxtrot.
Now let's use our words.
Words. Brown. Bold. System font regular. Italic. Quick. D. Not bold. System font regular. Not italic. D. Space. Quick. Bold. System font regular. Italic. Brown. Fox. Not bold. System font regular, not italic. Jumps over.
See that? And that's how easy it is, my friends, to select some text. Now, again, if the next thing I want to show you is that we can copy some text. So I'm going to copy very lazy. Actually, I'm going to copy the word. I'm just going to copy the word very. I'm going to, let's see.
The, very. Very.
Yeah, there's the word very. I'm at the beginning of it. Set the rotor to text selection again.
Lines. Text selection.
Should already,
Swipe right to expand selection.
should already be on words.
Word selection.
that's right.
Very. Selected.
Now, what I can do is turn the rotor away from that.
Lines.
I can go to the edit rotor to choose copy, but I also happen to know
Cut button. Copy button.
it's just there right to the right of the notes edit field, so I'll double tap that.
Copy.
And it should have copied.
Paste button.
I hope it
Return.
copied, so we're going to...
End of text. New B.
Okay.
Quick new line. Editing colon. Edit 8B. Quick brown. Fock words. Dog period. Lazy. Very. Character space.
How do we paste that in there? There's a paste option in the edit rotor. Turn the rotor to edit. Swipe up and down to paste and double tap. There's also paste in other places.
No. Undo. Redo. Paste button. Paste.
Did it paste it?
Return. Space. L. L. Word. Very.
Yes, it did.
The. Very. Very.
It's in there twice.
Character space.
Let's even paste it again.
Undo. Redo. Paste button. Paste.
Okay.
Return.
Listen to our note.
Note. Text field is editing. Editing. B. Quick brown. Fox jumps over the very, very, very lazy dog. Character mode. Insertion point between space and L at the 61st position.
Now, let me
Use the rotor
let
to
me
act-
ask you a question, my friends. Let me ask you, why did it read it weird? Why did it say the quick brown fox instead of reading it nice and smoothly, the quick brown fox? The answer to that is because you recall we changed the attribute. We made it bold and italic. So it's emphasizing it just as you would hope that it would, just as it would when you see it. You can expect that it's going to do a nice job like that. So isn't that awesome? Praise God. All right. So good job, Apple. We have pasted this text, and what I'm going to show you now, finally, is, to finish this subject, is the option of how you correct spelling errors. If you are cited and not using VoiceOver, when a word is misspelled, it will be underlined in red. You can tap on it, tap and hold on it. It will bring up a list of corrections. You choose the one you want. That does work in some instances in with VoiceOver as well, especially in Pages. But there's also a special item in the rotor called misspelled words. You don't have to add it. It just appears when it is needed. In order for us to test this, though, we're going to have to misspell some things. So let's go back.
Word. Very.
I got very 3 times. Let's
Characters.
make it.
V-E-R.
Add a weird letter.
Sorry. Very.
I added a Z.
Y. Z.
Why did I add a Z
Zulu.
instead of something else? Because it may have autocorrected, and I love autocorrect. Autocorrect is great, and I encourage you to make use of autocorrect. But keep in mind that if I want to misspell something, I got to do something that it doesn't have a chance of autocorrecting.
Z. Y. Space. V.
Let's do another word.
Space. Word. The over. Over. O. V. H. J.
Put a J there.
J.
And one more.
Word. Jumps. J. U.
Put an N.
N. Semi-activate.
All right, let's read
Default.
this now.
Undo. Note. Text field is editing. B. Quick brown fox jumps after B. Versi. Very, very lazy dog.
Yep.
Insertion point between
Definitely some misspelled words. If I'm reading by word,
words.
you'll know.
Jumps after the versi very fox. Jumps misspelled. After misspelled. The versi misspelled. Very. Versi misspelled.
And I might be able to find replacements already in the rotor or...
Empty line. Undo. But redo. Link. Phone. First. Add table. Link.
Okay, well,
Return. Lines. Word. Very, very lazy. Versi. Misspelled. V.
it might be...
Vic. No. Read. Paste. V. Video. Very.
There it is. There's very. It's one of my autocorrect suggestions just above the U, I, and O. Or actually, in this case, they're going to be like to the right of the notes edit field if you keep swiping. But you know, I could double tap it to replace it. But I want to show you how to correct spelling another way.
April. New note.
So-
Note. April 13th. Note. Text field. Insertion point at start.
What we want to do is go to the beginning of the document and set the rotor to misspelled words.
Misspelled words.
Now,
Swipe left or right to choose a replacement, then double tap to insert.
and it tells you how to do it. First, though, we've got to swipe down to get to our first misspelling.
Jumps selected.
There it is, jumps. It has an extra letter in it. Swipe to the right to listen to the replacements.
Jump. Jumps. Jumps. Jump.
It's the second one.
Jumps.
And I can double tap on it to replace.
Jumps. Unselected.
Now swipe down.
Objer selected.
Swipe to the right.
Over. Over.
There's only one.
Over.
If I want to go back to the previous one, I swipe left. That is the one and only. Double tap it.
Over. Unselected.
Swipe down.
Versi selected.
Swipe right.
Very. Very.
Only one. Double tap it.
Very. Unselected.
Now swipe down or up. Nothing. Why? Because there are no more misspellings.
Characters.
Just turn the rotor away from that. That's how easy it is. Now, if you swipe to choose a replacement left and right and you find that your word is misspelled so drastically that there is absolutely no chance of it finding a replacement, okay, it doesn't know what to do, then what you do is you know that whenever you're looking for replacements for a particular misspelled word, that misspelled word is selected. So what you can do is just stop trying to find one and don't do anything with the cursor, don't do anything with the rotor, just start typing your next attempt. In other words, have another go at it. If you misspelled it so terribly that it can't find the correct word or it says there are no replacements available, it's already selected, so just have another go. Just type it again. Try typing it another way. All right, hopefully eventually you'll come across the correct spelling. All right, so that is about all you could ever want to know about basic editing. There's certainly more, and we'll do it in Pages and in the cafe and sorts, things of that nature, but that is a very basic overview of the editing process. Now, I do want to demonstrate editing from another perspective that's going to be useful to both our sighted and our non-sighted users alike. Cliff, if you're listening to this, I want your input after the session, after the recorded part of the session, and we'll include it and get it posted. Not trying to exclude you here. It's just I'm doing this at approximately 3:30. Well, what time is it?
Wednesday, April 3:52
Yeah,
a.m.
3:50 to almost 4 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't want to bother you at this hour, even though sometimes you've been up this late. But what I want to talk about is keyboards. We call Cliff the keyboard king, so we're going to welcome his input. But I want to give you a little bit of an overview of the keyboards. In particular, I want Cliff to share his experiences with some other keyboards too, Logitech and Bridge and things of that nature, because there are a lot of good third-party keyboards available. I'm going to focus on the Apple ones. Now, if you are using an iPad 9th generation or any of its recent predecessors, in particular 8th and 7th, there is an Apple option for you. It's called the Smart Keyboard. Okay? If you are using an iPad Air 4th or 5th generation or an iPad Pro 11-inch, you will use one of two options. And if you're using an iPad Pro 12.9-inch, it's the same options. It's just a larger model. Your two options for keyboards from Apple are the Smart Keyboard Folio or the Magic Keyboard. Now, I happen to have both here. The iPad I'm using right now is connected to a Smart Keyboard Folio. It is very much like the Smart Keyboard of the 9th generation iPad, except it's a little sturdier, a little bigger, and it's a slightly different design because it does include back protection as well. The Magic Keyboard is a whole different ballgame. It is designed
3:53 a.m. Status vary.
Hold on, sorry. It is designed to turn your iPad into a true laptop experience, including a trackpad, including a very, very powerful, very awesome, scissor key with keyboard with backlit keys for those who can benefit from them. I'm going to open up my case here. I have a nice Targus briefcase which has my keyboard, Magic Keyboard in it. And what I'll be doing is making a quick swap so that we can play around with this. Now, it's so easy that I'm going to do it really fast. My iPad is already, I'm going to take this cover off here. This is my marine blue smart cover, smart folio. I got to turn the iPad to the other position here.
Landscape. Charge port to the right.
Because I was in landscape with the charge port to the left. I'm going to open my Magic Keyboard. I'm taking my time on purpose to tell you what I'm doing. I'll open my Magic Keyboard, and then I just place the iPad right in it, which lining up the camera
3:54
with the
a.m.
camera hole. And
3.
it's in.
Keyboard hidden.
And it's in. You heard it say keyboard hidden because the on-screen keyboard gets hidden. Now, if I close this, it's a beautiful iPad laptop-esque feeling, though a bit heavier than what we're used to for an iPad, but still, I don't keep it in this for that reason. But when I want to do some serious typing, I do. Now, this allows for the camera cutouts. It allows for the button access. It also has a pass-through charger, which is really cool because you get an extra USB-C port this way for charging only. But what's nice about that is that you can use the other USB-C port on the actual iPad itself as your data port if you want to connect it, Drive or something, and then use the one on the keyboard at the same time for charging. Or if your cable is just on the opposite side, then the cable doesn't have to stretch across the iPad to charge, right? So this is a nice solution. The iPad, let me say that again. The keyboard, Magic or otherwise, any of these smart keyboards I've talked about in the past few minutes, they do not have batteries. They do not use Bluetooth. There's no pairing required. They use the smart connector of the iPads, and therefore, it's super easy to use them right out of the box. All right, now I'm going to open my iPad up here.
3:56 a.m.
Put my finger on the... Okay, and
Note.
what I have is a beautiful laptop-like experience with the floating cantilever design, the hinge design, so that I can tilt the screen of my iPad to slightly different angles so I can, if I were looking at it, I could see it very nicely. And then I got this fantastic keyboard, best keyboard feel I have ever experienced. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a little bit what this is like.
Very end of text. New line.
And I'll type the same thing again. I'm typing in a weird angle here because my other iPad's on my lap to record, so you might, I don't know, but we're going to type.
Period.
Oop, forgot the word dog.
Period. Dog. New line. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
All right, I just typed that again. I wanted you to hear how that typing experience is. It's just amazing, okay? All right. What we're going to learn now is how to edit with the keyboard. And then we're going to talk about some other useful keyboard things you can do, okay? But we're in an edit field already. So this is where I want to start. I want you to understand that with your keyboards, there are two types of commands. There are voiceover commands and there are iPad OS commands, all right? We are going to talk a little bit about both, but what we're dealing with right now is iPad OS commands, not voiceover commands. These will work whether or not voiceover is turned on. A sighted user will benefit from this as well. There are some app-specific iPad OS shortcuts, and then there are some things that always work. These are things that always work in any edit field. Once you've double-tapped on an edit field to open it up, whether it be on a website, in notes, in pages, in messages, in an email, you can use these following keyboard commands to edit your text. The first one, if you want to move by character, you press the left arrow to move to the previous character, and you press the right arrow to move to the next character. Now, I'd like to remind you that you're still going to hear the same feedback you heard when we were using the rotor in the sense of it's going to speak what it passes over. It's not like your Windows experience. It's different. So get used to that. All right, so I'm going to start pressing the right arrow.
Cap T H E.
And where's my cursor?
Echo.
It's actually to the right of the E, between the E and the space. Keep going.
Spit Q U K.
Okay, so if I now
Kilo.
want to move back to the previous characters, I press the left arrow. Every time I press it, it goes character by character. You'll notice it's going to read the same letter, the K, as it passes over it and ends up on the left of it, between the C and the K.
K C I U Q spit E H cap T.
We are
Tango.
at the beginning of that line, the beginning of that sentence. Now, if you want to move by word, you add the Option key. Option right arrow moves to the next word. Option left arrow moves to the previous word. But wait a minute, where's the Option key? Well, we better learn that. All right, the bottom row of keys on an Apple keyboard is as follows. globe key, also known as the emoji key on the far left, Control, Option, Command, and then spacebar. Let's say it again. Globe, Control, Option, Command, and spacebar. One more time. Globe key or emoji key, Control, second one. Third one is Option. Fourth one is Command, and the fifth one is the spacebar. And then if you go to the right of the spacebar, you have Command and Option. Once again, Command and Option on the right-hand side as well. No Control, no globe, but Command and then Option. It is important that you understand this is the same for all three of the keyboards that I mentioned too. The Apple Smart Keyboard for the 9th generation iPad, the Apple Smart Keyboard Folio, and the Apple Magic Keyboard all have that same configuration. The globe key, when pressed, will quickly bring up your emojis on screen so that you can choose from them. But if you go to the next one, it's the Control key, and then after that is Option. So to move by word, you're going to press Option, right arrow. Hold down Option, press right arrow, let them both go.
The quick brown.
To move backwards by word, Option, left arrow.
Quick D.
All right. To move by line, it's up arrow and down arrow. So I think we're already on the last line if I press the down arrow.
End of text. The quick brown
Yeah.
fox jumps over the lazy dog.
But we can press the up arrow.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Body. Indentation level 0. New line. New line. The quick brown fox jumps over the very, very, very lazy dog.
That's the other one. Go back down.
New line. New line. Body. Indentation level 0. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Okay. To go to the beginning of any line, you are going to press Command left arrow. Remember, Command is just to the left of the space bar or just to the right of it, but Command left arrow probably works best with the left Command key. And it didn't say anything because I'm already at the beginning. Let's move to the right a little.
Brown.
All right, Command left arrow.
The.
Now it says the. All right, Command right arrow to go to the end of a line, right?
Dog period.
Yep, Command right arrow. Okay, if you press Command up arrow, it will take you to the very, very beginning of the edit field or document. Command up arrow.
Start of text. Editing colon.
And if you press Command down arrow, it will take you to the very bottom or the very end of your document.
End of text. The quick brown fox jumps over
Okay.
the new line. Period.
The only other one
The quick
we
brown
didn't look
fox
at
jumps over the lazy dog. Cap T. New line.
is the,
New line. Body. And the quick new line.
yeah. So Command up arrow to go to the beginning of the whole text field or document or edit field. Command down arrow to go to the very end. And again, Command left arrow moves to the beginning of a line, the current line. Command right arrow moves to the end of the current line. Now, the only other thing we want to do here is we want to learn how do we select text. Well, it's very simple. You use any of the navigation commands that I've just given you, but you add the Shift key. So if I want to select by word, it's Shift Option right arrow, or go backwards to deselect Shift Option left arrow, because remember, Option right arrow and Option left arrow move by word. So let's just try this. Let's delete those extra varies.
The quick brown fox jumps.
I'm going to press Command left arrow to get to the beginning of that line. I already was, but I wanted to make sure. Now I'm going to do Option right arrow to get to the word very.
The breath jumps over the
We're going to leave one of them in there.
very
If I press the right arrow,
space.
it takes me to the right of the space, which is where I need to be because I don't want to delete that space necessarily because I think it's going to get deleted in the next go around here, the next space. So we want to keep that space there just in case. We'll look at it after. And I am now just to the left of the V of the second very. We got two of them. So we're going to press Shift Option right arrow to select very and very.
Very selected. Very selected.
If I made a mistake, I can go Shift Option left,
Very unselected.
but go to the right.
Very selected.
And again, we're just going to press the delete, which is above the backslash. Backslash is above the return. So, typical layout there. Delete.
Selection deleted. Every menu item.
And it brought up a little, okay, let's look at this now.
What space?
Yep, it's perfect.
New the quick brown fox jumps over the very lazy dog. Body.
Perfect.
Indentation.
Perfect. And that's as easy as that. When you are typing in an edit field, if you do need to show your on-screen keyboard for some reason, there is a button, and it's on...
Space.
Oops, I just deleted...
Space.
Didn't mean to do that.
Very.
Swipe to the right of your edit field.
Add table, keyboard, button, bottom, view, and dictation, button, format, button,
So you heard two things.
dictation, button,
Dictation
at view, bottom, keyboard, button,
and keyboard, which will bring up the on-screen keyboard. You can also press the globe key to bring up the emojis on screen. And if you are entering text into a password field or some kind of login screen in an app or website and you need to use keychain, sometimes you will need to show the on-screen keyboard, but on models that use the Magic Keyboard, it usually will show up anyway with the autofill options already on the screen, even without you having to do that. But, you can always press the keyboard button on the screen to show or hide the keyboard. There is a brightness control that you can add to Control Center to adjust the brightness of the backlit keys, but the keyboard brightness actually does automatically adjust depending on the ambient lighting conditions around you. And from what I hear, it usually gets it pretty much spot on, so not a big deal. But you can add that to the Control Center if you wish to manually override it. All right, now there might be other iPad OS commands in the Notes app that we want to not miss, and I'm not going to teach them all to you, but I want to show you how to access them. Anytime you are in an app, no matter what that app is, if you'd like to see the list of iPad OS specific shortcuts for the keyboard for that particular app, you're going to press and hold the command key while you're in that app. And it's going to bring up a little pop-up, a little popover. There it is.
search, button,
I can swipe right.
selected, file, button, edit, button, format, button, view, button,
Wait a
button,
minute, what do I have here?
show attachments browser, command.
There we go. Go back to the left here.
Checklist.
Okay, back to the left, because there's a lot of them. I think what it is I could have probably picked one of those. I could have really... Wow.
New note, command.
There's a ton of keyboard shortcuts.
File, heading.
Okay, yeah, I could have picked from those buttons, file, edit, view, and format, to narrow down my list, because this is long. But here, let's just start reading a few of them.
New note, command, N, button. New folder, shift, command, N, button. Print, command, P, edit, heading.
Now here's the edit one.
Undo, command, Z, but paste, command, V. Pasted match style, option, shift, command, V. Select all, command, A. Note list search.
And those are
Select
very
all.
important, by the way. Select all is Command A. I don't think it said copy or cut yet, but that's Command C and Command X, respectively. Command C copies, Command X cuts. Similar to Windows, but Windows uses Control. So here it's Command, just to the left or to the right of the space bar. Command C to copy, Command X to cut, Command Z to undo, Command V as in Victor to paste, Command Shift Option V to paste and match style, to preserve the style
Pasted match style, option, shift, command,
of what you
V,
had. I
button.
swipe right.
Select all, command, A. Note list search, option, command, F, button. Find and note, command, F. End editing, command, return. Left, button.
When you're done editing, you press the left command key with the return key, and that hides that makes it so it's not editable now.
Dictation, globe, D, button.
All right. You can press globe and the letter D to start dictating.
Emoji, globe, E, button.
You can press globe E to get the emojis.
Format, heading.
All right, here's some formatting stuff now.
Bold, command, B, italic, command, I, underline, command, U, title, shift, command, T, heading, shift, command, H, button.
So you can even apply heading styles, title styles, all those things.
Subheading, shift, command, J, button, body, shift, command, B, monospaced, shift, command, M, bullet list, shift, command, 7, dashed list, shift, command, 8, numbered list, shift, command, 9, checklist, shift, command, L, button, mark as checked, shift, command, U, button.
Look at all these things you can do, guys.
Table, option, command, T, increase indentation, command, button, view, heading,
And then view.
show sidebar, control, command, S, button, view notes as list, command, 1, button, view notes as gallery, command, 2, show attachments browser, command, 3, search, button, file, button, edit, format, selected,
And those are
view,
the
button.
things at the bottom that let you narrow down, and you can search even for a thing that you want to look up. They said we weren't going to read them all, but you know what? There weren't that many for notes. There's probably a lot more for other apps, but when you're done with this thing, you can just scrub out of it or tap off of it. and it goes away.
Note,
There it
text
is.
field.
And it went away. All right, so any app you're in, press and hold the command key to get that information. It's really, really useful. Plus, remember your basic editing commands that we've already taught you. Now, there are voiceover specific commands that you can use as well, and they are for more basic navigation. I personally don't typically use them because what I do is I use the on-screen navigation. But if you want to know some voiceover commands, get used to the voiceover keys. Now, what in the world are the voiceover keys? They are the control and option key. Bottom row of the keyboard, your far left key is the globe key. Just to the right is control, and just to its right is option. Press and hold control and option, and you've got yourself the voiceover keys. You can use those keys in combination with other keys now to perform voiceover gestures, or voiceover commands instead of traditional iPad OS commands. When you add the voiceover keys, you know you're performing a voiceover command. And likewise, a voiceover command will always have in it the voiceover keys, control and option, or I think you can actually use caps lock, but also you can use what's known as QuickNav. QuickNav automatically puts the voiceover keys in the mix so you don't have to. And then you can just navigate without the voiceover keys being held down. But there is an issue. When you are in an edit field, QuickNav absolutely has to be turned off. And as you notice, it was by default because it knows, it's smart enough to know when you're in an edit field, it turns QuickNav off. As soon as you leave an edit field, QuickNav typically gets turned back on. If you think that it somehow is out of sync, you can press the left and right arrows together to toggle QuickNav on or off. Again, we want it off when we're in an edit field, on any other time. All right, so your voiceover commands, for example, let's get out of the notes here.
April done button done.
And let's
New note button.
go home. I think there is a keyboard command for that with voiceover. I think it's command. I think it's control option H for home. Yep.
Weather widget stack.
Okay.
Every news.
Now, how do we move with the voiceover commands? You use control option left arrow and control option right arrow to move by element. Okay, just like you swipe left and right. So.
Settings. Page 1 of doc. Messages. 5 unread messages.
And to double
tap to open.
To double tap, it's command. It's control option space or VO keys and the space bar. VO space, we'll say. VO space.
Messages. Message. Text field is editing.
And that is how you open something. VO space. That's how you access an edit field. VO space on it. That's how you open an app. Click a link. Anything like that if you don't want to do it on screen. But again, VO left arrow and VO right arrow move by element. And then, there are some others, and we're not going to get into them. Okay? The reason we're not going to get into them is for the sake of time, and you won't remember them all anyway.
Doc, messages,
because think about it. That just is crazy, right? I mean, expecting you to remember all of them in one day. Now, there's not a ton. It's not like JAWS where you have, 279 commands for every single app. But it does have, a decent amount that you would want to spend some time on if this were really important to you. So where are you going to look these up? We have a way for you to look up the iPad OS shortcuts for any app by holding down the command key while you are in that app. But that does nothing about the voiceover commands. Where are we going to find those? Now, the answer to that question is in your voiceover settings. If you go to Settings, Accessibility, Voiceover, Commands. Under there, you'll see options for touch gestures, keyboard commands, handwriting, and more. And you will even see all commands, which will let you see every gesture and keyboard command and everything else that there is. All right? So that is going to be a little bit of an overview of using keyboards with the iPad, especially when you are editing. And there are some really cool things you can do that I didn't get into. We'll let Trainer Cliff talk about some of them if he chooses to. And any of the other instructors as well, certainly, are welcome to. But I always call Cliff the keyboard king because he's got a keyboard in about every room, and I think one in the car, maybe. So if you want to know a keyboard thing, you ask Cliff. But here's the thing. Again, a lot of this you can look up, and he's going to tell you that too. I know he is. You can look this stuff up on board your device by going into your voiceover settings. So remember, 2 different kinds of commands. iPad OS and VoiceOver. iPad OS ones are found by holding down the command key within any app. There's also some general ones like for editing that we showed you. And then VoiceOver ones are found in your VoiceOver settings. All right. Now, I'm going to take my iPad off of my Magic Keyboard. Oops.
Try again.
I
4,
accidentally-
4, try it.
Yeah, I did that on purpose now because, all right, I want to put my folio back on. Now we can
4:15 a.m.
unlock it correctly.
Home.
And
Christmas
what
time.
did I
Off.
do
Button.
here? I opened up the home app, I think. That's what I was.
Logi Circle. IOTA
Yeah.
B0C5. What? Set page.
Okay.
Settings.
We're good. Now,
Book TV. App Store. Podcast. Camera. Home.
see, we're back on the home screen, okay?
Double tap to open.
All right, now, guys, I have a question I'd like to ask you because I want to let you hear I want to ask you a question is what I'm trying to say, guys. I want to ask you a question. We typed a sentence a few minutes ago called "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." What I'd like to ask you is what is unique about that sentence? The sentence again is "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." What is unique about that sentence? Take a few minutes and think about it. Okay, my friends, what is it unique about that sentence? Did you come up with something? Or are you just totally just stuck? There is an answer. There is an answer, my friends. If you guessed that that sentence contains every single letter of the alphabet, you are correct. Okay, guys, that's, look at the time. Okay, my friends, here's what we need to do. We need to go to some lab projects for you to try some of this stuff out. We need to go to some trainer comments, time with the trainers, because we definitely want to hear from Cliff and Sarah, Rita and Lynn. And of course, we need to go to Q&A time because we absolutely want to hear your questions. So if you are joining us on YouTube, once again, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And for everybody else, if you're joining us in Zoom, please do not go away. We're going to take a 5-minute stretch break, get a drink and a snack, whatever. But don't go away because we got time with the trainers, we got lab projects, and we got Q&A coming up. God bless you, everybody. See you in a few minutes.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant.